wouldn't desk and vote ourselves a tax increase. We just don't have that ability. And the judge has talked about prices going up, costs going up for infrastructure. We each one have a little mini infrastructure of our own that we have to maintain, whether we like it or not. And if we let our infrastructure go down, then a number of things happen. Our property value goes down, our health goes down, our costs go up, which is what you alluded to. But we have the same cost, the same problems on a mini basis that the county does on a little larger basis. We don't have to try to keep up with California and New York and make everybody a millionaire. But we have gotten by without this tax and other taxes for many years. If there is a problem that needs to be addressed, then pull in the strings. That's what I have to do. When I don't have the money to pay for something, I have to pull it in. I expect the county to be just as responsible as I am. And to you, John, I expect you to be just as responsible as I am and vote no against this tax increase.
Well, actually, it's not a tax increase.
It is a tax.
It is a tax increase.
I protested my taxes this year. They charged me $2,000 an acre unimproved acreage. I go over and I protest it, and he brings out a paper saying, well, the guy behind you just paid $2,300 an acre for 600 acres. Now, how can you compete with that?
Because his taxes, because his property's worth that, doesn't make mine worth.
Well,
what we're doing here, and I don't mean to interrupt, is we're discussing appraisals versus tax rate, and Mr. Sullivan is in charge of appraisals. And he has stated that basically the appraisals did not increase for everyone. And so your taxes would be the same if your appraisal did not increase. Because the tax rate of 54 cents that we are proposing is the very same tax rate we had last year. And as I alluded to, if you would take the sheet that he put in the paper, because he did try to simplify it. By law, we could only go down to 53,0261. If we lowered it, that one basically rounded off, say, penny, it would only save $11.49 if your home value was average of the 91,000. $11.49 may impose a hardship on some people. But when you have the cumulative $11.49 that we receive from each one of you, and we are grateful for that increase, we can then continue to operate our county. I don't know, the increase is so minute if we keep it at 54 cents. Even if we went down to the 53, you wouldn't realize but the $11.49. And I would like to say that because we stay focused on the 54 and we don't go up and down and up and down, it gives us a more stable way to budget when we don't anticipate. We could raise it. By law, we have the ability to raise it. We don't want to do that. What if we cut it and then we had to raise it past the 54 to make up for the losses we made? I think that the fact that we're trying to stay focused, we're trying to keep it at the 54 cents, and we are cutting back to stabilize our departments so if it gets worse, that we don't have to increase to make any adjustments to our budget to make us be able to keep our doors open.
Why not adjust your budget? I adjust mine every day.
We adjust ours, but we adjust ours mostly for the mandated increases. The ones I mentioned before, they're mandated. Indigent care, mandated. We increased, we had to go through a budget amendment this year because we didn't budget enough for indigent care. And so we have to pay that. It's mandated.
And appraisal, let's get back to this appraisal thing.
Well, the appraisal now is Bill Sullivan.
That's arbitrary. That's done by a person with a pencil and a piece of paper in their hand. Has nothing to do with what's been done to that property, what's been done against it, or for it, or will ever be done.
And
That's
Bill-
just the person's personal opinion with a pencil and a paper in their hand, they write down some numbers.
And Bill Sullivan, I'm sure, would be happy to visit with you on your individual piece of property.
Well, y'all need to consider what he said too, and realize that there are holes in his target.
But see, he doesn't, we don't control Mr. Sullivan.
You control his vote, there's 5 of you up there that control the vote.
Not on appraisals. They have their own.
I'm not talking about appraising, I'm talking about voting. And we're gonna do that in just a few minutes. We're gonna vote in just a few minutes.
Mr. Martin.
Let me speak to Bill Sullivan's position. I don't have any real argument with him. He is, as I understand it, bound to state regulations about establishing a valuation of properties. I don't have any argument with that. We don't have anything to do with that here in this meeting. You're right. We do have to do with what you guys decide that your budget is going to be and what it's going to cost us. And when we find out that the average home value, we're not talking about farmland. Now, farmland's another thing altogether, where you had a piece of farmland that was worth $1,000 an acre a few years ago, and suddenly it skyrocketed because some rich fella came in and bought the land and put pretty fences around it and tanks and improved it, and it's great. I'm glad that's coming in. But what we're talking about here is the average home value in this county has jumped about $1,500 more or less in the last year. That's the average. Some people are not going to have an increase at all. Some may even have a decrease. But on average, in this county, people are going to be paying more, and some are going to be paying more than others.
But that brought in all the new homes, and if you'll notice, there are some very expensive new homes in Robbins County, and we're appreciative of that.
Yes, ma'am.
All southern part.
Well, you know, it really doesn't make any difference.
And
You guys are raising taxes $472,000 for next year. I don't care if you're taking it out of a business in Navasota or out of a piece of property. For where it's coming from, it's coming out of the taxpayer's pocket, every penny of it. And what you raised on businesses down in another part of the county or in a home in another part of the county is going to raise the cost of living in the northern part of the county.
Well, I will explain what Mr. Sullivan explained to me when we had our meeting. There is a lot of pipe that they store at National out there. A lot of companies that order pipe store the pipe out there. Now, they're not Browns County residents, they're not Browns County companies, they're companies that order pipe from National Law. They store their pipe. Once it's produced, it becomes a taxable item. If it's there January the 1st, we get